Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to Locs Lux Lifestyle. Welcome back to another video. And as y'all can see from the title and from looking at me, I did a thing. So we're about to jump right into it.
The sun shines in all of my glory. My flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
So if you've been keeping up with some of my lock videos, some of my vlogs and updates like that, I was telling you guys that I was ready for something new, ready for a change with my hair. It's a stylist on TikTok. Her name is Glolocs. And she did this like mermaid slash boho look with her locks. When I seen it, I knew it was something that I wanted to do, but I went back and forth for a while about doing it. And finally, I said, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. So here it is. So far, I am loving this look. I think it's gonna be great for the spring and the summertime. But before we get into the tutorial, I just wanna do a quick disclaimer. First things first, I'm not a professional. And the second thing is that I understand that this is not a look for everyone. This look is more on the unconventional side when it comes to locks, so just keep that in mind. If you are interested in achieving a look like this, I would recommend doing your research, completely vetting the process, not just how to install it, but the process overall, maintenance and things like that, just to make sure that it is something that works for you, that aligns with your lifestyle and with your goals and intentions for your locks. I'm going to show you guys the process of how I went from this to this, and then I will come back afterwards and give you guys my final thoughts. So let's get into the tutorial portion.
So to achieve this style, you will need some type of wefted or bulk hair. I purchased my hair from Houz of Cheveux. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I ordered 2 bundles of their raw Southeast Asian curly hair, and I got the hair in 16 inches. You don't have to use this hair exactly, but I do recommend using some type of human hair. I would not recommend using synthetic hair. I personally went with raw hair because it is a higher quality. I've used it in the past when I've had loose hair. It's typically a lower luster and the strands are more coarse. And being that I have locks, I didn't want to use any hair that was too silky, but again, you can use any hair that you choose. So since my locks are lightened, I am going to bleach these bundles. I just used a few scoops of the bleaching powder and 30 volume developer, and I'm going to do a bleach bath because I was being lazy and didn't feel like bleaching it like with my hands. So that's what I'm doing here, just mixing up the products, and then I added hot water to this mixture, and then I'm just going to soak my bundles in the mixture, and I let them sit for about 35 to 45 minutes, and then I rinsed it in deep condition for a few hours, and then rinsed it again and let it air dry overnight. And this is how it came out. One bundle lifted a little lighter than the other one, but that's okay because I am gonna go in and color it again like once it's in my head, and I also like the contrast of low and highlights. So I went ahead and started the process off camera just so I can get my bearings right, and this is what we are working with so far. Again, don't mind the color because I am going to go in and fix that later, but this is the look we are going for. So to start off, I'm just going to start by putting my finger protectors on because I will be using crochet needles and they will stab you. So I have a few crochet needles, but I mainly use the 1 prong and the 2 prong needle for this install, and they are both in 0.5 millimeters. So for the hair, I'm literally just cutting it off the weft, nothing too crazy or extra special. So I'm gonna grab a lock, and then I'm using about 2 to 3 clumps of curls per lock, just depending on my lock size. And then I aligned the hair with the tip of my lock like so. Then I start off with the 2 prong needle, and then I'm just going to start crocheting the hair in my lock, going in and out, and I'm also twisting my lock as I go, if that makes sense. So I'm pulling the needle in and out and then twisting my lock with my hands, and then once it starts to attach, I'm also going to start moving the needle in and out and going up and down, if that makes sense. Like, it sounds like a lot, but it is fairly simple. And then as the hair begins to attach itself, I'll go in with the 1-prong needle and basically repeat the same process. And then I just kind of alternate between needles just kind of as needed. I feel like the 2-prong needle is good for just getting the hair on, and then I feel like the 1-prong needle is better like when you have those little frays and strands of hair that are a little stubborn. I think they do better with the smaller section. So again, I just kind of alternate, and then I'll go in and palm roll. And then this is the important part. You have to pull at it to see if you have any hair that comes out, and as you guys can see, I had a nice little clump that came out, and that let me know that I need to continue the process because it is not secure enough. So I just continue the process until it's secure. Honestly, you're still going to get a little bit of shedding, but it should not be coming out in clumps. So I just continue the process and I do the pull test to see how much hair came out. And I just keep pulling at it. Like if more and more hair is still coming out, then I'll go back and adjust it. But if, only get a little bit of hair, then I'm pretty much good to go. But yeah, that's pretty much the process. It's pretty straightforward, not overly complicated. It's more tedious than anything. So as you guys can see, this style does require you to crochet through the locks, so it is more in line with like a permanent style. Obviously you don't have to keep it forever, but it is again something that's permanent or long term. This was one of the reasons I was a little hesitant about doing this style at first, just because of the crocheting and manipulation to the lock, but then I remembered. So if y'all don't remember, I did have lock extensions last year, and I still have 2 or so inches of the lock extensions attached to my locks. Some of them were embedded a little more than others, so it's give or take, but the ends of my locks are technically not my natural locks. And that's what made me a little more comfortable with doing this style, because technically I am not manipulating or possibly messing with the integrity of my natural locks, since I'm only attaching it to the end. But even if you don't have lock extensions and you're still a little hesitant, I would probably still go ahead and do it if it was me, only because I'm attaching the hair to the ends of the locks. Now, I would not recommend like crocheting the hair throughout the entire lock, but since we're focusing on the ends, I personally think it's okay, because if all else fails, you can just go ahead and snip them off and it really won't affect the progress of your locks as a whole. And that's just my personal opinion. So this is how it looks once all of the hair is attached, and so far so good. I really love the fullness of it. However, I was still getting quite a bit of shedding at this point. I was hoping that once I color it and wash it and do all of that stuff, the hair will kind of attach itself more, but this is what we have so far. But now I'm going to move on to the coloring process so that everything can blend a lot better and be more cohesive. So I'm going to start per usual by using some Vaseline to baste my hairline. I also did my ears and my nape. So next I'm going to split my hair into 4 sections, and I'm going to rubber band them off just above where the curly hair starts. And I'm going to go in with that same bleaching powder in 30 volume developer and mix that up in a bowl. And I'm going to start by lifting the curly pieces, just because as you guys can see, they did not lift light enough to match my locks. So I want to go ahead and lighten them some more. And then I'm also going to go in lock by lock, and I'm using my hands for this part, but I'm taking some of that bleaching mixture and I'm applying it just to the attachment point, trying to not get it on my locks because I don't want the tips of my locks to lift even more and it not match again. So that's why I'm doing this with my hand, just so I can really focus on that attachment point so that the blend is more seamless. Because I'm using bleach, you definitely have to work kind of fast, just because it started lightening a lot quicker than I thought it would. I used the 30 volume developer, so I thought it wouldn't move that fast, but it was moving, y'all. So definitely had to work pretty fast with this process. So my roots had grown out quite a bit, so I'm gonna mix up another bowl, but in this bowl I used 20 volume developer, and I also added in some conditioner, and I'm just going to touch up my roots. Now y'all, this was not a clean process. I was very sloppy with this process, but yeah, the ends were just lifting so fast, so I was just trying to make sure that I got everything. But if my roots don't get all the way light, it's okay, just because, you know, it'll be like a nice ombre kind of. But yeah, I was just trying to make it as cohesive as possible, but this was a very sloppy process. I'm not gonna lie, I could have done this a lot better. And then I'm gonna throw all of that into a cap. I think I used 2 caps, and then I just let it sit under the cap for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I really didn't let it process for that much longer, just because it was already moving pretty fast, and I wanted it light, but I didn't want to go all the way blonde. So yeah, I just let it process again for 5 to 10 minutes and just kind of use that time to kind of clean up my working space before I was going to rinse it. For rinsing, I'm gonna use some neutralizing shampoo first, just to make sure that all of the bleach is out and to make sure that it has stopped processing. And then I'm gonna follow up with my Jamaica Mango and Lime shampoo and conditioner duo. I also have some purple conditioner that I was considering using, and this is what it's looking like before I rinse the bleach out.
All right, y'all, jumping back on camera real quick because I realized I started doing another process without telling you guys. So I did go ahead and shampoo it about 3 to 4 times until all the product was out. So then after I finished shampooing, I went to do the conditioning process, and I was looking at the color. I decided not to use the purple shampoo on it, just because if y'all been watching some of my videos, I told y'all I've been trying to go a little more ginger this year. First, I was just gonna leave the color as is, but I did notice like a few inconsistencies in some areas in the color, so I decided to go in with just my Adore semi-permanent colors. So I have cinnamon, I have ginger, and then I also have honey brown. So I only got a little bit of all 3 of them left, so I ended up just kind of mixing them all together, and I'm just kind of running it through mainly just my natural locks, not the tips of the hair, because the tips of the hair I like the color. But yeah, I'm just trying to get my locks to be a little more cohesive. I still have the conditioner in my head as well, so I'm probably just gonna apply this and then put a cap on and let the color and the conditioner sit on my hair for about maybe an hour or so. Just trying to make sure I'm replenishing my hair and adding the moisture back to it. And then I'm going to rinse it again, and yeah, that will be the coloring process. And then all that's left to do after this is to retwist. I'm really excited. I'm liking how it's looking. I can't wait to see how everything looks once it's dry, the color as well as the curl pattern and all of that. But yeah, y'all, I'm tired. This has been such a process. Like, it's gonna be a rewarding process, but it is still a process.
And this is how the color looks after all of the processing right before I retwist it. There's still a few inconsistencies, but it is a lot more cohesive. Y'all know I had those blonde lock extensions, and they are so stubborn. So you can still see some of those blonde pieces, but I've learned to embrace it over time, and more than likely I will work on adjusting the color over the next couple of months, but for now, this will do.
All right, y'all, so yeah, this is how it all came out in the end. I will have a separate video for my retwist because I did use a new retwisting product and I wanted to do a separate video for that. But overall, you guys, I am in love. I was a little hesitant when it first came out, so let me just go over some of just like the main details about this style. So first things first, how long did it take? So it took about 5 minutes per lock. I have a total of 68 locks, and when I did the mathematics, it averaged out to be like 5.5 to 6 hours, which really isn't that bad. It is a very tedious process though, so I decided to break it up into days. So it took me a total of 2 days. I worked on it for a few hours one day and then finished it off the next day. But depending on how many locks you have, if you do want to go ahead and just knock it out in one sitting, I do think that that is very possible. combo. But again, it will be like a 5 to 6 hour process or more, depending on how many locks you have. As far as how much hair I use, I thought I was gonna need more hair than I did, but I barely went through one bundle. I was like clipping off of both of the bundles just because one bundle had got lighter than the other one, and I wanted more of like the contrast of the highlights and the lowlights. So I did use both bundles, but if I totaled it all together, it wasn't a full bundle that I used. Now, depending on the hair that you buy, the hair that you use, that will kind of determine how much hair you need. When it comes to bundles, I've been out the game for a little bit, but back in my weave wearing days, bundles are about 3.5 to 4 ounces. So depending on the length of hair you get, that will determine how much weft you get. So typically the longer the bundles, the less weft you get. The shorter the bundles, the more weft you get, because it's all about weight. So again, I got 16 inches, so I had more weft compared to if it was like a 20-inch bundle. On the website that I ordered from, like in her details about the bundles, she said for a full head, 16 inches and below, you needed 2 bundles. Anything longer than 16 inches, she will recommend 3 bundles. But that is for like a weave or whatever. So that's why I went ahead and just got the 2 bundles. But I really could have got away with just 1 bundle. However, I'm kind of happy that I do have more hair left over, just because the only downside to this hairstyle is the shedding, y'all. So I knew that shedding was going to be like an issue going into this, just because again, the original creator Glolocs, when I watched her videos and updates about the style, she said that shedding was a big issue and that she ended up changing her process, ended up doing like K-tips and all that other stuff. I don't know how to do none of that. So I just stuck with the crochet method, and I anticipated it being a lot of shedding. It has kind of calmed down. It's been a few days now. I want to say it's been like 3 or so days since I've completed my hair, and the shedding has toned down, but it still sheds. So I'm sure that that is going to be a part of like my maintenance process, just upkeeping with the shedding, because as it sheds, this is probably going to get thinner and thinner. But that was something that I was kind of aware of going into the process. I was trying to think of different ways that I could possibly stop the shedding, but I haven't came up with anything yet, but I will keep you guys updated. But yeah, if you are interested in this look, be prepared for shedding. What else? As far as maintenance goes, so far maintenance has been pretty easy. I oil my scalp like I would do any other time. And then for like the curly pieces, I've just like misted them with water and kind of just fluffed them out, and that seems to work for me. It does get a little frizzy, but again, this is raw hair. Raw hair tends to be on the more coarse, frizzier side, which is something that I like. I like the frizziness because, I don't know, it just gives it texture. I love that kind of messy look. So the frizziness doesn't bother me too much. I was concerned about tangling, but so far I haven't noticed like any major tangles, which is why I recommend going with a higher quality hair if you are going to do this. I don't know how long this style is going to last, but I do intend to wear it for at least the next couple of months, you know, throughout the summertime. Which brings me to my last point, which is removal. I know a lot of times when I do these different kind of styles, you guys ask about the removal process. So as far as the removal process, more than likely, I'm just going to cut the ends off. So like I mentioned before, I had lock extensions last year. So I do have like bits and pieces of my lock extensions still attached to my locks, just because again, some of them were embedded into my natural locks more than others. And so I've been kind of trimming at them here and there, but they're still there. So because of that, I was comfortable with doing this hairstyle just because I knew when it was time to remove it, I'm okay with just cutting off the ends of my locks. As far as the removal process, I'm just going to cut them off basically. If you're okay with cutting your locks, that's the process for removing them. But yeah, I think that's all I have right now off the top of my head. Per usual, you guys, I will keep you guys updated on maintenance and upkeep and just how everything lasts. But I am happy with my decision to do this style. I think it came out really cute. I love the color combo. And yeah, I wore it in a ponytail yesterday. I love the ponytail look, half up, half down. I'm also going on vacation this week, so we are gonna get like a real wear test to see how this style holds up. But yeah, I'll give you guys a quick 360. But that is it for this video, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media platforms, and I will see you beautiful people in my next video. Bye.